Hi, I'm Mark Bunker, and I'm a council member here in Clearwater, Florida, which is Scientology's religious mecca, unfortunately. We have been cursed for almost 50 years now by the presence of Scientology in our downtown, chasing people away, and it has been a major problem. For too many years now, Scientology has been intimidating people in downtown Clearwater, including business people, and no one will go on the record to say that this is what Scientology has been doing. And that's needed. We need to be able to speak truthfully about what is happening. And it's my belief that, as soon as Scientology comes into your business and starts to put pressure on you, you should go to the press. We've got a great paper here, the Tampa Bay Times, which fully understands Scientology. Tracy McManus, the reporter on the Scientology beat, is always trying to find people who will go on record, but most people are too afraid to do so. I've been trying to show that it's okay to say the word Scientology. It's okay to call them out on the bad behavior. Not the members. I don't have a problem with members of Scientology. It's the organization itself and the leader, David Miscavige, that's causing the problem. One of the most important things we can do is get people living downtown. There was a developer who was putting in 81 affordable housing apartments. The council had voted 4-1 to approve this project. When the economy went sour with COVID, the construction costs skyrocketed. And the developer came back to us and said, we want to do this, but we're going to need more money. And we as a council said, yes, you've got the money. We're giving you the money. The county gave money to the project. It was funded and ready to go. But then Scientology called the developer and said, hey, that property that you're building on, that firehouse, we really want that. And continued to harass this person, calling over and over. And Tracy McManus in the Tampa Bay Times got all the email exchanges between the city and this developer. And it's clear, the developer is reaching out to the city saying, please, will you please talk to Sarah Heller, the Scientology person who was the point person on this. He would say, we're a professional business here. We have to have everything in writing. We can't have you continue to call, so stop it and just send everything to us in writing. And of course, Scientology doesn't listen, so she kept calling. So that type of harassment is one thing. But what was also uncovered by Tracy McManus at the Tampa Bay Times was that, our city manager, who I like, I really like him a lot. John Jennings is his name. We hired him about a year ago. And I think he's doing a great job. But he is of the belief that we can work with Scientology. We can turn things around after 47 years of them stabbing us in the back. I have repeatedly explained to him David Miscavige's wants and how David Miscavige operates. I even had Mike Render come into City Hall and talk with both John Jennings and our new city attorney, David Margolis, another really terrific person in City Hall, to explain exactly what Miscavige wants and how he behaves. And how you can't trust a thing he says. So in this latest article from Tracy McManus, it turned out that John Jennings, our city manager, was trying to negotiate a land swap that would move this affordable housing project to a different property and let Scientology build an L. Ron Hubbard museum at that location. Now, John Jennings wanted the museum there because it's far less visible than where Scientology wants to put it, which is on a main road going to and from the beach. So everyone would see that at a corner property. And that's the last thing that the city needs. However, what happened is that the county said, no, that money that we gave you, that's non-transferable. So if you're moving to a different lot, that money doesn't go to that. It's been approved for this lot. And ultimately, because of Scientology's lust for this property and the nonstop phone calls from Scientology and the continual harassment, the developer finally said, okay, listen, I'm out. And in the email that he sent to our city manager, he said it's clear that the city of Clearwater still does not know what it wants from its downtown. And that's the really disappointing thing, because that's the message that comes across in this, that, what's best for downtown Clearwater is not Scientology. We cannot be appeasing Scientology. This project blew up. The mayor was the only one on the council who knew that this negotiation was going on. And in fact, the mayor, who I really like and admire, although I'm not sure he believes that, because I tend to speak my mind, and he got pretty upset with me in this meeting I'm going to show you here. But that's okay. I mean, I'm there to speak uncomfortable truths, and I am not the most diplomatic person. I know when I launch into what you're going to see me say in this meeting, it's going to ruffle some feathers, but I think feathers need to be ruffled from time to time. We need to be able to say, listen, this isn't right. And it's not the way the city should be run. I mean, 4 of us on the council said, this is the project we want. This is where it's going to go. And the rest of us had no idea that there was shenanigans going on behind the scenes involving Scientology that would make this whole thing blow up. And blow up it did, because the developer ultimately said, okay, I'm out of here. I'm taking my project and I'm going to another city. And we don't want that to be the unfortunate precedent that people go, well, it's not possible to do anything here. Thankfully, this New York developer Gotham, who is doing the waterfront properties, and we've got 600 apartments and restaurants and retail and a hotel, it's going to really transform the entire downtown in a way nothing else has for 50 years. These people can't be spooked. So I'm not worried about them. We just have to convince the citizens of Clearwater this fall to vote to sell the property to these developers. It's up to the citizens of Clearwater. So if you live in Clearwater and you're listening to this, I hope, please vote yes on the referendum question to sell this property, because trust me, this is the only thing that's going to help us get out from under this Scientology curse. Anyway, more on that as the election comes closer. But right now I want to show you what happened at the end of our Thursday night meeting a couple nights ago. I just want to say that there are newspapers all across the globe who are struggling. Wherever you are, subscribe to your local newspaper. Here, we're lucky enough to have the Tampa Bay Times and Tracy McManus, who is a top-notch reporter covering city government, and also the beat reporter on Scientology, and she does a magnificent job there. And her latest article, combining the two, came out this past week, and I was very disturbed to find out that the affordable project that we had 4-1 voted to have at the old firehouse was lost largely because of Scientology's meddling and the city's efforts to appease David Miscavige. In Tracy's article, the developer Sean Wilson said Scientology didn't pressure him in any way, but I find it hard to believe when it was clear in the emails between the developer and Mr. Jennings that Scientology's point person on this project, Sarah Heller, kept calling the developer even after he begged her to stop. And that's Scientology's playbook. Do what it takes to win. Be relentless. I mean, I saw it at a TV station when I was working in San Diego. We were going to air a report on Scientology that I put together. They called nonstop. They sent letters and emails, and even hours before it was to air, they came to our gates to try to stop it. And we didn't buckle. And unfortunately, that wasn't the case here. Despite all of our best efforts, the developer said, on this city-sponsored concept, there is still a great deal of uncertainty about what is best for the city of Clearwater as he walked away with the project. And unfortunately, that's the message that this gives, that we're not sure what we want to happen downtown Clearwater. Scientology wanted the property, and you offered to facilitate the discussions, hoping to swap the land so a great big shiny L. Ron Hubbard museum could be hidden away where fewer people would see it. Well, I mean, it definitely should stay hidden, just like Hubbard spent the last 10 years of his life hiding in the desert, afraid that he would be sent to prison like his wife and 10 other top Scientologists who had been sent to prison for espionage against the U.S. government and the government of Clearwater. I don't think we should forget that. And what angered me the most is that I didn't know that you and the mayor had been in on this maneuvering, and according to Tracy's article, none of the rest of us were aware that this was part of it. The council voted 4-1 for this affordable housing project, and the mayor voted no because he wanted the property to be used in a land swap with Scientology. Now,
no, Mr. Bunker, that's not true.
Well,
so
that's that was one of the things you mentioned when we took the vote, that you thought there were better.
First of all, I wasn't involved in any maneuvering whatsoever. Okay.
So Tracy was wrong that you weren't knowledgeable about what was happening here.
I heard that the deal was falling through, but I wasn't involved in anything. I didn't talk to anybody, and you ought to be careful again because you just shoot your mouth off.
Yep, that's what I'm good at. But you're here to respond.
Yeah, and I'm going to. I'm going to. I didn't think that project should go there because I didn't think affordable housing should be in the downtown core.
But 4 of us said we wanted it there, and we approved it.
And that's fine.
It was derailed.
I wasn't the one that derailed it, so I just want to make sure you are making accusations that aren't true.
All right.
And I'm not going to let them stand.
I retract.
So I said that on the campaign trail. I didn't think that there ought to be affordable housing in the downtown core. I think you need people that have money that can be spent in the downtown core.
Well, whoever would be living in affordable housing, they'd be able to go out to a restaurant and buy a meal from time to time.
I understand that.
And we've got big, huge 600 apartments being constructed there now as well. So thankfully those didn't fall through. I hope Miscavige doesn't want those properties. Anyway, Miscavige is not the city's partner. He is essentially the head of a crime syndicate, and we should be helping Tampa federal judge Thomas Barber, who just issued a summons days ago to serve Miscavige in a human trafficking case from which Miscavige has been hiding, just as Hubbard hid out in the desert as his time leading Scientology came to an end. Miscavige is not serving Clearwater, so we should make sure he is served.
Mr. Jennings.
Mayor, I'm sorry that I want to take some time right now because I've really grown tired of the attacks on my character. To say that I never spoke with you, Vice Mayor, I spoke with you on several occasions about how the deal was falling through. And I've decided to put everything in writing at this point because this has happened a couple of times now where I have had these conversations. I get thrown under the bus. There's an article written that isn't complete. The only reason I was involved with this was to avoid the L. Ron Hubbard Museum going on a location that was the old tequilas between Court and Chestnut. So people were not going to the beach and coming from the beach, and that's what they were seeing. When I found out they were having some financial issues, I didn't proactively talk to them about that. And so there was a discussion with the developer and Scientology about a different location. When the state said that they would not agree to move the funds to a new location, I sent an email, which is part of the record, to the developer saying, unfortunately, this is not going to happen. I was under the assumption that the developer was going to move forward with the affordable housing project at the fire station. All I was trying to do was to make sure the L. Ron Hubbard Museum was not greeting everyone coming and going. And so I think that this narrative that the paper has perpetuated, that I'm not talking with you, is inaccurate. And I'm just not going to stand any longer to be having the bus run over me without defending myself.
That wasn't my intent, and I apologize if you took it that hard.
Well,
but from Tracy's article, and I believe she's probably accurate in this, that Scientology reached out to the developer and said, hey, we want that property. And Ms. Cabbage was offering a property that a Scientologist parishioner owned on Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and I forget the other intersection here. Why doesn't he put the L. Ron Hubbard Museum there?
the point, Councilmember Bunker, was to make the affordable housing project viable. So if they were given the property, they could have made the numbers work. And when that did not happen because the state did not approve the transfer of the location, that's when I washed my hands of it, recognized that the L. Ron Hubbard Museum was probably going to go at Court and Chestnut, but that was the reason why I was involved. Trying to do what was best for the city, in my opinion. I had no belief that the affordable housing project would go away.
But it wouldn't have gone away if we had just said to Scientology, I'm sorry, there's a deal here, and...
But I didn't do that. I wasn't involved in that. I spoke with the developer. He said he was having financial issues, even with the additional funds.
Just like the other affordable housing projects that we're looking at that we gave more money to this past week on consent.
Right, but it doesn't seem like that's the full story.
Well, I don't know, but the way you characterize things is very unfair. So, I've got a real problem with it. And you know what? I don't mind 4-1 votes. It's okay.
Yeah.
Just like tonight. I think you're all completely wrong about City Hall, and I think that will be proven out. But it's okay. I can take a 4-1 vote. But don't characterize that I had anything to do to undermine that project. Or you and I can settle it outside.
Oh, come on.
Vice Mayor, you have something else? Because these really are closing comments. Are we done?
I was just going to ask, why do you think Blue Sky didn't come back to us for some more money, or the county, if they were having some financial difficulties?
I'm not sure. I have no idea. I'm not in their, I was never in their discussions in terms of their pro forma, but I will say that the two affordable housing projects that you just worked on this week and that we're bringing before the council either in October or November, both had significant revenue shortages. And the Blue Sky funding that was freed up is now going into, if the council will support it, the South Washington project, which is 173 units of housing.
Thank you.
All right, we're adjourned.
I go in on Tuesday to talk to our city manager and our city attorney for the first time since this meeting, and it's going to be fun and interesting. But I hope that the people of Clearwater understand why I am out there ruffling feathers. We've got to be able to stand up and say, stop it. We're not afraid of you, Scientology. And Mr. Jennings has the chance to prove to himself that Miscavige can be a good partner, and I'm sure Miscavige will stab us in the back once again. But all I can do is give Mr. Jennings a chance to find that out for himself. I hope that that's not the case. I hope one way or the other we manage to actually break this curse, and keep watching, because there'll be much more excitement as the months and years go by. So, thank you very much, and I'm going to see you in the new downtown Clearwater. Next year we're opening the park, and it's going to be fantastic. So, we'll have a wonderful time meeting down there at that point. For now, I'll just say good night.